Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Levitt Stadium for today's game that has been pushed back 4 hours due to the overnight rain. A lot of rain last night, and they've spent since about 9 or 10 o'clock this morning getting the field ready. It's not in greatest conditions. It looks great from here, but it is pretty soggy. But on the mound for the Panthers today is John Mead. I believe some of his family yesterday, and he is on the mound. Clayton Kramer's leading things off for the Tigers, and he's at a 2-2 count now to lead things off for the Tigers in Game 1 today, Game 3 of the series. But Panthers obviously trying to get this game in as much as possible today because of it being Senior Day. 2-2 pitch here from Mead. This one's going to be put into play. A slow chopper, grounder over to the first base side. Suter cannot get there in time to relay it over to Mead, so that's going to be an infield single for Kramer to lead things off for the Tigers.
I think there's a good chance we're going to see a lot of plays like that today, especially in the infield.
It is going to slow down a lot, and you never know, too, with as wet as this ground is. I would expect Gorman here, a good chance he's going to try and bunt over, and you could have somebody slip in trying to pick up that ball, especially if you try and bare-hand it. It could just be bad, so look for some wild errant throws possibly today as well. The one thing is you won't probably see very many stolen base attempts. As muddy as it is, it's not easy to slide in that. It's not safe to slide in that, I wouldn't think. So, but I could see him bunting over Kramer here. And he fouls off the bunt attempt for strike one. Got a few fans in the crowd today, not as many as you would expect on a spring day and the final home game, but when it's about 50 degrees, a north wind, and a lot of wet, not too many people are excited about it, and a lot of people had plans after a 1 o'clock start got pushed to a 5 o'clock start. 0-1 pitch here from Mead. Time is called before Mead even has a chance to throw over to first, so doesn't have to make that throw. It's going to be a bunt right back to the pitcher, and he's going to throw over to first. So the sac bunt by Gorman is successful, allows the Tigers to get a runner in scoring position with one out. And again, with that weather, I'm not sure exactly what what it'd be like to try and round third and go home with a hard hit ball into the outfield. Actually, it might not make it as far into the outfield, so a hard hit might draw up. So that's going to bring up Christian Herbig to the mound for the Tigers. First pitch, he fouls off for strike one. Herbig is batting .233 on the season. Mead, a 3.62 ERA, does have 42 strikeouts on the year. That pitch is in the dirt. Great job by Anktel keeping that in front of him. All right, Dan Mead listening as well. So looking at John having a successful day there, and his parents cheering on from probably the luxury of their home on a nice Saturday afternoon. One pitch here. Also in the dirt. Gets away from Anktel. Anktel going to throw over. Not in time. So that's going to allow a runner to advance over to third. So now you look at a ground ball having the chance of scoring a run here in the top of the first inning for the Tigers. And it's a 2-1 count now to Herbig. And that is exactly what it is. It's a hard hit ball over to the shortstop. Is going to be an RBI ground out and put one up on the board for the Tigers. So the first lead of today's ball game will go to the Central Christian Tigers. And that's going to bring up the DH, Reynaldo Echenique. Pitch misses for ball one. Evens the count there on that off-speed pitch that hangs over to the middle of the plate. 1-1 pitch just misses low. Meade is known for pitching or throwing quite a few pitches, but that one of the things is he just doesn't give up a lot of runs. His pitch count gets high pretty quick, but never in too much danger. Now he's facing a 3-1 count here to the DH Echenique. That fills the count there at 3-2. That ball put in play, ripped right back at Meade. Meade's going to jog over and toss it over to Suter. So Meade and the Panthers get out of the inning, but they allow one run on one hit, no errors, no runners left on base. The Panthers due up in the bottom of the first inning will be Rudy Perez, Anthony Enriquez, and Ivan Perez. First pitch to Rudy Perez is going to be popped into shallow left field. Bauman there to make the catch for out number one.
Actually, a really good catch by Bauman. He had to run a long ways in this wet grass. We noticed how wet it was when we were walking up here before the game started.
And he wasn't underneath that by any means. He extended his glove out there a little bit, and we saw the left fielder make a drop yesterday on more of a routine play. That was a so kudos for him on that. The first pitch to Enriquez is a called strike. Chase Dean on the mound for the Tigers. He got a 4.76 ERA, just 22 2/3, 23 innings pitched now on the season. Next pitch hangs up there for ball one. Next one is just going to be a slow grounder over to the second baseman. Actually makes a great play at second base as he scoops it with his glove and just tosses it over to first base in time to beat the speedy Anthony Enriquez for out number 2. So 2 outs now, and that's going to bring up Ivan Perez. Enriquez looks like he might have a word of advice to Perez about what to expect maybe from Dean on the mound. That pitch is going to be in there for a called strike. That pitch misses for ball 1. That pitch off speed right over the middle of the plate for called strike 2. Two-two pitch here now to Ivan Perez. That's going to be a hard hit ball down the left field line. But he's going to scoop this one up real quick, Bauman, so that's just a single. I think normally that's going to keep skipping if there's not wet grass, and it maybe be a chance for a double for Ivan Perez. But that will bring up the catcher, Garrett Anktil. 2 down here, the first hit of the ball game. Again, for the second day in a row, credited to Ivan Perez. That pitch in there for strike 1. And that pitch is going to be lined right at the second baseman. He snags that one. So the Panthers do get 1 hit. They strand that 1 runner, but the score after 1 inning, Central Tigers lead 1-0. Eshelman steps into the batter's box for Central Christian, batting .266 on the season. First pitch is a slow grounder over to second base. Perez over to Suter at first for the ground out. Just out of the reach of John Meade on the mound. Probably a good thing that he didn't try and knock that down. That would have been a tough play if he makes a move on that. And now the dangerous Lee Stoops coming into the batter's box for the Tigers. Again, he's got 10 home runs on the season. And that pitch hit into center field, high, and shallow center field, and Ivan Perez makes the grab.
Penn is now going to step into the batter's box. And the first pitch from Meade is low for a ball. Austin Penn getting the start at third base as he started the second game yesterday at third base. The second pitch is a called strike. The 1-1 from Meade is swung on and missed. 1-2 now to Penn. And the pitch is in the dirt and swung on and missed for the third out of the inning.
So 3 up, 3 down for Meade. Makes quick work there for the Tigers, and due up for the Panthers will be Bueno, Johnson, and Pella in the bottom half of the second inning. Jose Bueno stepping into the batter's box for the Panthers. He is batting at .306 on the season. The first pitch misses for ball one. That pitch fouled off, evens the count at 1-1. And that pitch is hit into center field. That is going to be caught by the left fielder, as the center fielder was well over into right field playing. Bueno has the tendency of hitting that way. The left fielder, Bauman, makes his way over there for the first out of the inning. That's going to bring up Michael Johnson for the Panthers. Johnson does show bunt, pulls back, maybe realizes that it's going to be tough to field in these conditions. That's ball one. Hard hit ball at the shortstop. Shortstop is going to throw over, and it is in time. So great play by the shortstop, Gorman, to get the 6-3 ground out. And that's going to bring up the right fielder, Jordan Pella. That pitch is in there for a called strike. Pella been hot as of recent, batting in that 7 spot. I think does his most work when runners are on the bases. That pitch up just a little bit too much, evens the count at 1-1. Hard hit ball again. This one ripped over at the shortstop, and he throws it over to first. So 2 6-3 groundouts and a fly out to center field is going to be it for the Panthers in the second. So after 2 full innings of play, score is 1-0 in favor of the Tigers from Central Christian. Left fielder Bauman steps into the batter's box. He's hitting 171 on the season. First time he gets to see John Meade all year. Fastball, and that's going to be fouled off into the parking lot. Again, those just joining us that are Panther fans, in the outfield, hard hit ball grounded over to Enriquez. Enriquez throws over to Suter, and it's in time for the 6-3 ground out, which will bring up Barnhart. But again, for those of you that are listening to your family, the players here talking about the new clubhouse, in the background, behind all those cars, you'll see some lighter colored dirt. That is the placement of the new clubhouse, the Paul Touchton clubhouse. They did pour the footings earlier this week, so that should be ready to be occupied come this fall. And I know the baseball team is really, really excited to have that so close to their facility and just having a place of their own. So that pitch is in there for a called strike. So 1-1 now the count here to the 9-hitter Barnhart. Hard hit ball right at Rudy Perez. He's going to throw over to Suter just in time for out number 2. And that will be back to the top of the batting order. For the Tigers, it'll be Kramer, who has the lone hit on the afternoon for the Tigers. He does have a run scored after he advanced on a sac bunt and then advanced to third on a wild pitch. Fastball right down the middle of the plate for a called strike. That pitch is low and in the dirt. Evens the count at 1-1. Swings at a high fastball for strike 2. And out in front of that off-speed pitch for strike 3. So another 1-2-3 inning for John Meade. And the Panthers due up in the bottom half of the inning will be Suter, Goodall, and back to the top with Rudy Perez. 1-0 the ball game. Suter steps into the batter's box hitting .226 on the season with 9 RBIs. Does not have a chance here for an well, I guess he does. If he could hit his first home run of the season, he'd get an RBI added to his resume. The first hit or pitch is going to be hit into shallow center field, and that's going to be Barnhart going after that one, and he makes out number 1 on the first pitch of the third inning, and that's going to bring up the 9-hitter Sean Goodall. That pitch is outside to Goodall. Only 20 pitches have been thrown so far for Dean. Again, we're playing a 9-inning game first and then a 7-inning to follow. Fastball down the middle. This is going to be a hard hit ball over to the shortstop once again. So Gorman in the right place at the right time, as he has thrown out 3 of our batters so far on the ball game. And that's going to bring up the top of the batting order for the Panthers, Rudy Perez. Perez flied out to left. His first appearance on the first pitch of the ball game, I believe. Off speed in there for a called strike. That pitch misses for ball 1. And that's going to be looped just over the shortstop for a single with 2 outs. Again, a single with 2 outs. We'll bring up Anthony Enriquez, the shortstop.
Rudy is off on the pitch. First pitch is high for a ball. And Rudy slides in safely into second with a stolen base, with 2 down here in the bottom of the third. Want to know the count to Enriquez. And the 1-0 hits Enriquez on the front leg, as the Panthers now have runners on first and second. Ivan Perez steps in 1 for 1 on the day. He singled down the left field line back in the first inning. The first pitch is a called strike to Perez. The next pitch is fouled away out of the stadium. 0-2 now to Ivan Perez. Good speed on the bases for the Panthers. Rudy Perez in scoring position over at second base. Anthony Enriquez at first. The 0-2 from Dean. Hit to the second baseman. He flips to the shortstop for the third out of the inning. And we'll head to the fourth with a 1-0 lead for Central Christian.
Just an update here as far as other YC athletic events going on. Softball is on their final weekend road trip of the season. They're up in Waldorf. They won Game 1 up in Waldorf, or in Forest City, Iowa, against conference opponent Waldorf, 9-0. So a good day for the Lady Panthers so far. They're getting ready to take on Waldorf again in the Game 2 of the doubleheader. Also, our men and women's track team is in Lawrence, Kansas at the conference meet. They have had an outstanding day, and they were just crowned conference champions on both the men and women's side. And our head coach, Justin Carver, was named Coach of the Year for both the men and the women. Joe Ventry was named Outstanding Male Athlete, and Ashley Dugan was named Female Outstanding Athlete. So Panthers just sweeping awards left and right at the conference meet. Look forward to hearing more about that tomorrow when they get home, and finding out exactly what everything looks like. So congratulations to the York College men and women's track teams on a successful season. And I'm sure they're not done yet, as they're going to go to the NCCAA National Tournament, and a few have hoped to qualify for NAIA Nationals as well. I know JV Baseball's on the road as well. We'll see how that goes today, as I believe they're in McCook, Nebraska today. Gorman stepping into the batter's box to lead off things here in the fourth inning. Meade throws one straight into the dirt for ball 1. Panthers do strand 2 runners in the bottom half of that third inning. 1-1 now the pitch here as Gorman takes pitch number 2 for a called strike. This one he's going to put in play right over to Johnson at third. Johnson makes sure he has a clean grip on that, throws it over to first, and Suter records the putout. So now Christian Herbig, who has the guy for the ball game, which belongs to Central Christian so far, is that pitch up and outside for ball one. That pitch is in, called strike. Pitch just missed low. Puts the count at 2-1. Swing and a miss on the same pitch, and that's going to be a 2-2 count now to Herbig. Again, that pitch just misses. That fills the count up at 3-2. This one's going to be fouled down the third base line. It is a little bit cooler of a day. It's supposed to be almost 60 degrees, and I'm thinking it's lucky to get to 50 today. That rain has just hovered over us. Swing and a miss on a changeup there. He's going to run it out to first, but the umpire is going to say Anktel did, in fact, catch it. And thrown around the horn, Rudy Perez throws it well over Michael Johnson's head. I think we did the same thing yesterday. So 2 down here in the top of the 4th inning. The third strikeout for Meade. And that's going to bring up Ronaldo Echenique. I could be butchering that name because I think I start out Echenique, but
Yeah, I think I said it both ways yesterday, so you're not the only one.
So if the family's listening out there, we apologize. If there's a way you could let us know if we're correct or not. But, of course, we've said it both ways, so we don't know which one. Anyway, 2-0 the count now to Echenique. Fouls off the third pitch. And fouls off the fourth pitch. So 2-2 now the count. Meade not taking any time. Gets on the mound. He's going to have that one lined over to Enriquez at shortstop. Makes a nice grab there for the third out. So good job by Meade and the Panthers not allowing another run to score. They still find themselves behind in the ball game so far by a score of 1-0. Going into the bottom of the 4th inning, it will be Anktel, Bueno, and Johnson.
And the first pitch from Dean to Anktel is a called strike. Good looking breaking ball by Dean. Garrett lined out to second during his first at bat. This time the breaking ball is up and out to even the count at 1-1.
Probably right around half or just under half. We do need tortillas, though.
And it'll be 1-1 from Dean. Is swung on another line drive, but this one's going to find a hole into left as Garrett Anktil is on the leadoff single. And Kodiak Ratzlaff will run for Garrett over at first. And the hit will bring up Jose Bueno. Bueno flied to left his first at bat. A well hit ball. That is the third hit for the Panthers now, here in the bottom of the fourth. Bueno's going to lay down a bunt down the first base line. The throw to first from Dean is in time. And Ratzlaff will move over to second. Mike Johnson now at the plate. With a runner on second and one down here in the bottom of the fourth. And the first pitch from Dean is another off-speed pitch, in for a strike. The 0-1 is lined up the middle, and it's going to be in for a hit. Into center. The throw home. Ratzlaff will score on the bobble as the Panthers have tied the game 1-1. Jordan Pella now at the plate. He bunts, and the throw over to first is in time. So Michael Johnson moves up to second. With two down, Jordan Suter steps in. Suter lined to center his first at bat. And the first pitch to Suter is hit hard into right. It's going to be a base hit. The ball's going to stop in front of the right fielder, which is going to allow Mike Johnson to score. 2 runs now in for the Panthers here in the fourth. So the wet grass holds the ball up in right field, allowing Mike to score, and the Panthers have a 2-1 lead. Suter now at first with Sean Goodall at the plate. He squares and lays it down. It's a good bunt. It's going to be a tough play to throw to first. It's going to be not in time, and it's high, and the throw gets down the line. And it's going to get out of play which will keep Suter at third base. A great bunt by Sean Goodall.
Hello. Yes. And an error.
So after the bunt single and then the error by Dean, the Panthers have runners at second and third with 2 down, but the top of the order now up in Rudy Perez. Rudy singled his last at bat. He's 1 for 2 on the day. And the first pitch is a called strike. Oh and 1 to Rudy. Pitch is taken low in the dirt. So even the count at 1 and 1. The 1-1 from Dean is another line shot into left. He'll be down for a hit. 1-1 will score. The second coming around. Goodall is safe at home. 2 more runs in for the Panthers. Four to 1, York leading. Anthony Enriquez will now step in. 0 for 1, he was hit by a pitch his last at bat. Rudy Perez over at first already has 1 stolen base on the day. 2 down in the inning. The throw over, not in time. All 4 runs for the Panthers have scored here in the bottom of the 4th. It's a slow hit ball to the third baseman. The throw over is in the dirt and bobbled, but then picked up by the first baseman in time for the 3rd out of the inning. We'll head to the 5th, a 4-1 lead for the York Panthers.
Oh, we're just in the... I don't know. All right, leading off the top of the 5th inning, excuse me for putting the score down at the bottom correctly. Eshelman leading things off. Eshelman grounded out to second, his plate appearance in the second inning. First pitch is in the dirt for ball one. We have the Stoopses listening from Delray and Kotzebue, Alaska. Two extremes in the United States, one above the Arctic Circle. And that's going to be a single into shallow left field. Leading things off here for the Tigers in the top of the fifth inning, and that's going to bring up Lee Stoops, the catcher. We actually have a student at York College from Kotzebue, Alaska, wrestler. And we have former teacher from Alaska that lived in Kotzebue, or well, I guess in the Northwest Arctic Borough School District, but lives in or used to live in Kayana. So welcome to those listening from the extremes of the United States. That pitch is in there for a called strike. Obviously, when they get a leadoff runner on, they've been bunting over, whether it's the Tigers or the Panthers today. So I expect maybe from Stoops, of course, as strong of a hitter as he is, it looks like he's going to be able to swing away. Fouls that pitch off, puts him behind in the count 0-2. Checking the runner over at first, but Eshelman is back in time.
And the 0-2 to Stoops is high and inside for ball one. Stoops with 10 home runs on the year and 10 doubles. With a man on first here, with no one down. The 1-2 is low for a ball. 2-2 now to Lee Stoops. And the 2-2 from John Meade is a breaking ball in the dirt. Eshelman is off to second, and he will be in there safely. And the pitch was a ball, so now full count to Lee Stoops. A good read by Eshelman over at first base. Now in scoring position with no one down here in the top of the fifth. And the 3-2 misses low as Lee Stoops takes ball four.
That's going to bring up the third baseman, Austin Penn. Penn does have a strikeout. One of three Tigers to strike out on the day. Courtesy runner on first base for Stoops. As Meade gets the sign from Anktel, who does have family listening as well. Again, some more Panther fans from the California area, Stockton, that checked in yesterday and would expect nothing less on a beautiful Saturday afternoon, I'm sure, out in California. Meade checking the runners both times. He's been set, so is yet to pitch to Penn. Good looking pitch there. It was a called strike. I didn't see any motion, but it was a beautiful looking pitch from John Meade.
I'm a little surprised Penn wasn't showing bunt on that pitch with no one out here in a 3-run ball game.
Well, and not a great batting average. So looking to see if, putting 2 runners in scoring position, but swinging away on that 0-1 pitch, fouls it off. Swing and a miss at that pitch in the dirt is going to be the second strikeout of the day for Penn. So you wonder if it wouldn't have been better if he would have been showing bunt there at least a couple of those times to try and advance runners over. But Panthers will take that. That's the first out of the inning. And that's going to bring up Taylor Bauman, the left fielder, for the Tigers. Bauman grounded out to short in the third. First pitch, he's going to swing and foul that one off for strike one. And Clovis, California had rain this morning, but a little bit nicer there, it sounds like. Sun is out and shining. And we've got the Snyders from Rosebud, Texas. And I believe the Snyder, that was the pitcher of game 2. Am I correct there? That throw over to first. Didn't see exactly what happened, but it looks like he was checking the runner after the pitch. Anktel throws back over to first, and it misses Suter, which is going to put runners at second and third. So no sacrifice needed here, as an error by Anktel is going to put runners at second and third with one out. Checking the count here. 0-2's up on the scoreboard. We have 1-1. Looked like the Panther dugout was asking as well what the count was, but I did not see what the verdict was. Hard hit ball to shortstop, and that's going to get the fielder's choice at third. It would have been a tough play at first from Enriquez, but because of the error, that does allow one run to score. Now there's 2 outs, so the Tigers put another one on here in the top of the 5th inning to cut their deficit to 2 runs. It's now 4-2 in favor of the Panthers. And now up is Barnhart. Fastball fouled off into the bleachers for strike one. Barnhart grounded out to second. Looks like Meade didn't like that ball. Might have been a little too wet. So he tosses it back and asks for a new one. Sure doesn't take very long for these to get a little bit heavier with some water on them. Fastball high, evens the count at 1-1. Check swing, but it's going to be a fastball right down the middle of the plate. What I thought was a 1-1 pitch ended up being a 2-1 pitch. So 2-2 now the count. That pitch is in the dirt, trying to get Barnhart to chase after that one, but he does not, and that fills the count again, 3-2. Three-two pitch right down the middle of the plate. Slow grounder over to second. Rudy picks it up and throws it over, and that's going to be the third out. But the Tigers able to score one run in the top of the 5th inning to cut that lead 4-2 for the Panthers. Due up in the bottom half of the inning will be Ivan Perez, Garrett Anktel, and Jose Bueno. Take a quick timeout and be back with you in York, Nebraska. Ivan Perez fouls off the first pitch down the third base line. He is 1 for 2 with the single and then reached on a fielder's choice. That pitch hangs up for ball 1. Pitch in the same location, so now 2-1 the count to Ivan Perez to lead things off here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Hard hit ball down the right field line is going to be foul. So that'll even the count at 2-2. This one's going to be put, well, I thought it was going to be put in play, but it is fouled off as well into the parking lot. He really only had that many pitches. That's pretty good for allowing those 4 runs. 2-2 pitch is put into play, this time to the shortstop, Gorman, and Gorman throws a Perez out at first for out number 1. That will bring up the catcher, Garrett Anktel, for the Panthers. Anktel 1 for 2 with the single to left field. And his courtesy runner, Ratzlaff, does score after that hit. So we'll see if Anktel can get on base safely again here. First pitch is low for ball 1. That fastball is up. Puts the count at 2-0. Pitch is fouled off into the parking lot. Panthers doing a good job of making contact so far today. But thankful for that 4th inning as the Panthers scored all 4 runs to take the lead. Fastball down the middle of the plate, and that's going to be hit right up the middle for a 1-out single for Anktel, which is going to bring the courtesy runner back out, I'm sure. That's also going to bring up Jose Bueno. Bueno 0 for 1. Had a sac bunt last time that advanced the runner into scoring position. Throw over to first to check Ratzlaff at first. And that pitch is going to be popped up foul into the park down the left field line. Pitch out there, evens the count at 1-1. That pitch is in there for a called strike. Bueno's family listening from Oak Hills, California. Currently sitting at a 1-2 pitch count, looking to see if he can do the same thing he did last time and advance a runner into scoring position. That pitch is high and outside, evens the count at 2-2. Dean doing in pretty good position right now with his pitch count, just sitting at 56 pitches, so not a bad outing for allowing those 4 runs in the bottom of the 4th inning. Here's the 1-2 pitch. This one's going to, or 2-2 pitch is fouled off on top of the concession stand.
You can see they're trying to get Bueno to chase up the last 2 pitches where you can see Stoops setting up, calling for it up near the letters of Bueno. Bueno doesn't strike out very much, though.
And some more Stockton, California members sending love to Rudy and Robert Covarrubias. Took me over half the season, I think, to get that name correct on the pronunciation, even if I have it correct. So Jose Bueno, the 2-2 pitch once again here. And they're going to throw over and check Ratzlaff at first. Quite a few blankets up in the crowd right now. Tell you what would warm them up is a 2-run shot here. And a hard hit ball down the first base line is just going to be foul. Looked like that was just inside the fair line, but umpire standing right there, so I guess he's got a better eye than I do. But
yeah, looked good from up here, that's for sure.
It did. And like I was saying, it'd be nice to be able to warm this crowd up with something exciting, so let's see if Bueno can deliver here. That one hits him. High off-speed pitch, hangs up there and hits him on the shoulder.
Looks like they're going to say he didn't move on the pitch, which will put the count at 3-2 if the call stands.
Well,
Coach Walth is talking to him right now, the home plate umpire.
I'm not sure exactly what the call was because he threw his arms up like it was a dead ball. Well, maybe it was just he was just saying it was a dead ball, but I mean, what do you expect a guy to do necessarily in that situation? I mean, it's not. I mean, and especially that close to the face, can't say he really wants to take it, have it any closer, but either way, he's back in the batter's box. Count should be 3-2 now, I believe. Runner is going, and he's going to hit one foul once again down the right field line. Bueno back into the batter's box here. The 3-2 pitch. 1 out. Runner on first. Going to throw over as Ratzlaff took off on that last pitch, but it's not like he's trying to steal the base. It's just that it's a full count, so I guess a strikeout he could be. But 3-2 pitch this time. That was a high fastball out of the strike zone, but Bueno goes after it and fouls it off.
This will be the 11th pitch from Dean to Bueno this at-bat.
So just when I said Dean wasn't very high in his pitch count, at-bats for people like Bueno is really going to change that. So that's good for the Panthers, making Dean work early and maybe get to the bullpen for the Tigers earlier than they would want. Three-two pitch, and there's going to be another hard hit ball down the right field line, foul. That one I will agree with the umpire on.
Bueno just peppering that line, though, this at-bat. I would also think the second baseman would be a little bit more over towards his left. There is a big hole between the first baseman and the second baseman.
Well, and it's kind of surprising because the center fielder was over in right field the first at-bat for Bueno, and this time he's not nearly as far. And this is going to be hammered into left field. It's going to be well off the mark of where I was seeing it. And Ratzloff is going to be doubled up as well at first. I thought that one was right over the right fielder the way he was running, and the center fielder gets over there, catches that. I got you guys all excited, I'm sure. Ratzlaff is almost a third by the time that one's thrown back in. And you're going to get doubled up at first base there. So the Panthers threatening Bueno, 12 or 13 pitch at bat, unfortunately ends by getting a fly out and then doubled up at first for the third out. So now top of the sixth inning will be the top of the batting order for the Tigers, Kramer, Gorman, and Herbig. All right, back with you. Meade on the mound, getting ready to do some work right away. A soft grounder over to first base. And a tough play. Suter comes over to make that play off of first base. I think he should have waited a little bit longer as he is way off the bag. Throws it over to Meade at first. Meade is unable to catch it, but I don't think he has him out anyway. Tough play there. Kramer reaches base. So, again, the leadoff batter on base with no outs. And that pitch on a steal attempt, it's going to hit the batter, Gorman. That might hit him right in the back. So that's going to put runners on first and second with no outs.
In the middle of the order coming up in Herbig.
Not that it means anything, but they did give him a hit. But it's not Casey up there, so. bunt attempt here. Meade covering, grabbing it and throwing it over. So 1 out here, but puts Gorman on second, Kramer on third with less than 2 outs. So any hit in the outfield that's on the ground will more than likely score 2 and tie this ball game. And Ronaldo Echenique now in the batter's box. Echenique is 0 for 2. A hard hit ball, and that's going to be a grounder just underneath the dive of Mike Johnson. So not deep enough to score 2, but it will score 1. And it's got the Tigers threatening here in the top of the 6th inning.
Eshelman at the plate. He's 1 for 2 on the day. He singled in the hole at shortstop earlier.
Shows bunt, pulls back. That's going to be a called strike. So the 0-1 pitch here from Meade. They are going to bunt. They're going to try and go home, and he is going to be dead to his rights there at the plate. A great scoop by Meade over to Anktil to get the tag out there and not allow them to score. Now runners are at first and second, but that's 2 outs. So trying a safety, well, not really a safety squeeze, but some type of squeeze there as they are running on that bunted ball. But a great scoop by Meade and tosses it home from the glove for the 2nd out. So great job there by the Panthers. 2 down here. And Lee Stoops is now batting for the Tigers. Swinging a foul off the 1-0 pitch. So right now the Panthers clinging to that 1-run lead as the Tigers have scored 1 in the 5th and 1 in the 6th to cut into the lead. Panthers unable to score so far. That pitch just misses for ball 2.
Another base running mistake, though, by the Tigers. They could easily have runners here on 2nd and 3rd with really the man you want up in their lineup.
Right. And that, yeah.
As the bunt was right back to the pitcher.
Hard hit ball right at Perez in center field, and that is going to be out number 3. So the Tigers do get 1 run back, but the Panthers able to keep the lead. Going into the bottom of the 6th inning will be Johnson, Pella, and Suter. First pitch is inside, hits Johnson on the shoulder. So that will be a free base for Johnson. Might feel that pitch a little bit later. But that's going to bring up Jordan Pella, the right fielder, with a runner on and no outs.
Pella had his sac bonus last time up. A good chance here he will be doing the same. Pella squares, but the first ball is up for a ball.
They're going to check the runner over at first, but Johnson doesn't even have to dive in. He just trots back over there. Not taking much of a lead. He does have some speed, so he's a threat to steal, and obviously looking at going here on a sacrifice possibly. From Pella, 1-0 the count. Doesn't show bunt that time, and that for ball 2. I don't know, maybe this pitcher doesn't want the bunt to happen, so he's throwing up a little bit higher, trying to force Pella into something, so Pella doesn't even attempt on that. A hard hit ball just out of reach of the third baseman, who does play in. I think if the third baseman is playing in his normal spot, he might have a chance of knocking it down. Still going to be a tough play, but because he's playing in tight, possibly off that bunt situation, that's going to put runners at first and second with no outs. So the Panthers in good position here in the bottom of the 6th inning. And that's going to bring up Jordan Suter, who is 1 for 2 on the afternoon. He does have an RBI. Suter showing bunt. Commits on that low pitch for a called strike, or I don't know if it was called or if it just was a strike. But either way, 0-1 now the count. Squares up again. First baseman is in quite a ways. A good-looking bunt there. The pitcher falls down. Not a terrible throw. The umpire about gets taken out by Michael Johnson as Johnson rounds third and goes home on the drop by the first baseman.
Just like we said, though, those field conditions coming into play with the pitcher slipping.
Right.
He actually made a pretty decent throw after he got back up.
That was an incredible throw after falling down, slipping in the grass, and throws over to first. That's going to put another run on the board for the Panthers. Still no outs here in the inning. And a hard hit ball by Sean Goodall is going to score another run for the Panthers. Put the lead back to 6-3. A little behind up here as we're trying to get the scoring all figured out. 6-3 now the score. Runners at first and second, still no outs. And this will bring up Sean Goodall. No, Rudy Perez. Just in time as his grandmother, I believe, is in the house. Well, not in the house physically, but listening in and watching. He is 2 for 3 on the day so far with 2 RBIs. Runners at first and second, no outs. 1-0 pitch here from Dean. And Rudy's going to put down a bunt here, and there is no chance getting him at first as he's going to easily beat out the bunt attempt there to load the bases. That is a perfectly placed bunt down that third base line as that grass just kills the baseball today. And that's going to bring up Anthony Enriquez. DJ, you get all caught up?
I think we're good right now.
All right.
So 2 bunts in the inning, both successful for the Panthers.
That pitch misses. And Dean's pitch count now getting up there. Still not terrible, 74 in the 6th inning. I guess he doesn't have an out recorded yet, so through 5 complete innings. But and that pitch is in the dirt. So now ahead in the count, 2-0.
Which is going to bring a mound visit from the coach of the Tigers. There was no action in the bullpen, but now a pitcher will head down there and start to loosen up. The first pitch is hammered deep to right at the wall, and it's caught right above the fence. The Panthers will score one run on the sacrifice fly, but an absolute shot hit deep to right, and a great play by Kramer as it looked like he robbed a home run, which would have been a grand slam.
Robbing a grand slam. A great play by Kramer. Looked like he almost dislodged the fence a little bit on that one as well, but a great play by Kramer as he is above the fence when he grabs that one. I know you guys at home cannot see that. We apologize for that, but a hard hit ball by Enriquez. He is going to get another run across for the Panthers and increase the lead 7-3. And another hard hit ball is going to be into shallow right field for out number 2, and it is caught by Kramer again. This time he's running all the way in and just makes the catch there. Too shallow for anybody to tag. So the Panthers still have runners on the corners. 2 outs.
I think Rudy was stealing on the play, which brought the second baseman over towards the bag, which is why Kramer had to run so far to catch that ball.
It was a good job by Perez getting back, though.
Yep.
And this one's going to be popped up down the right field line. Kramer once again underneath that one for the 3rd out, but the Panthers score 3 more here in the bottom of the 6th inning. And now the score is now 7-3 in favor of the hometown Panthers. For the Tigers, it will be the 7, 8, 9 hitters due up in the top of the 7th inning. We'll take a quick timeout and be back with you in just a moment. All right, Austin Penn leading things off here in the top of the 7th inning for the Tigers. Fouls off the second pitch on a 1-0 count. And now 1-1. The 1-1 pitch here to Penn, and this is going to be a slow chopper over to the shortstop. And a great grab just above the dirt for Suter will be out number 1. That's the first time Penn did not strike out in the ball game, though. So he's got to feel a little bit better about that. And Taylor Bauman now batting. He does have an RBI credited to him in this ball game, but he is 0 for 2 as well. Swings and misses on pitch number 1. That pitch is in the dirt. Evens the count at 1-1. That pitch also low. So Bauman finds himself ahead in the count, 2-1. Swing and a miss on that pitch. A little bit higher than the previous two, but not by much. Puts us at 2-2. That pitch misses, so fills the count at 3-2. Reaches on a low fastball, fouls that one off into the parking lot. And a slow grounder over to Enriquez. Enriquez, a great job fielding that one. Again, not easy plays on anything hit on the ground in the infield, as this grass is just slowing things down. Hard charging Enriquez throws over to first just in time for out number 2.
Like we talked about earlier, routine plays are turning into great plays. It's 2 in a row for Anthony Enriquez over at short.
That pitch misses for ball 1. That's a called strike from John Meade. Now faces a 2-1 count is Barnhart. Barnhart grounded over to Perez. Both plate appearances so far, but that pitch misses, so 3-1 the count. Barnhart has a chance of reaching base safely for the first time here. Fastball right down the middle, and he takes it to move that count full. To get him chasing on that breaking ball, he does not, so that is going to be a free base with 2 outs here for Barnhart. And we're going to move to the top of the batting order for the Tigers with Clayton Kramer coming to the plate. Kramer is 1 for 3 with 2 runs scored. Reached on an error his last at bat. Fastball from Meade fouled off for strike 1. Looks like Meade's still got quite a velocity as he's reached 96 pitches now. There's no action in the bullpen, so would assume he's going to keep going here for a while, and a grounder over to Perez for out number 3. So Meade allows a base on balls with 2 outs, but the Panthers get out of the inning unscathed. Now in the bottom half of the 7th inning, you will have your 5, 6, 7 hitters in Bueno, Johnson, and Pella. We'll take a quick timeout and be back with you in just a moment. Back here at Levitt Stadium, 1-0 the count here to Bueno. Now 2-0. That's going to be a hard hit ball over to the second baseman, Herbig. An easy 4-3 ground out to lead things off here in the bottom of the 7th inning. And that will bring up Michael Johnson, the third baseman. He's 1 for 2 with an RBI and 2 runs scored. Has reached base safely the last 2 plate appearances with a single and then hit by a pitch. That pitch is in the dirt. Ball 1. A hard hit ball is going to be deep, and it is gone. A solo home run for Michael Johnson with 1 out here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Puts the run total now to 8 for the York College Panthers. A 1-0 pitch. Johnson just smokes that one. It didn't clear by much, but the wind is blowing in, not super hard enough, and that was a great hit by Michael Johnson. And then to follow that up, Jordan Pella rips the first pitch he sees into center field for a single.
That would be Pella's second hit of the day.
Pella making the most of his senior day with his family in the outfield. So 1 out, runner on first. Jordan Suter steps up to the plate. He is 1 for 3. High fastball fouled off for strike 1. This one's going to be put in play, but it's going to be left center field. The left fielder underneath that one for out number 2. So good contact by Suter. Unfortunately, hit a little too high. Allows Bauman to trot on over there for out number 2. And that's going to bring up Sean Goodall. Goodall maybe getting out of his slump, 2 for 3 on the day. Pella over at first. 2 down here in the bottom of the 7th. Fastball fouled off for strike 1. Hard hit ball down the third base line. And that dies. Again, one that would probably normally be an extra base hit, but because of this rain in these conditions, that's just a single. But that's the third hit of the ball game for Sean Goodall. The second for Pella. So actually the bottom of the batting order has 6 hits on the afternoon. And then Rudy Perez coming up. He is 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs. Runners at first and second. 2 outs. First pitch that Rudy Perez sees. He's going to line into center field. That's going to score 1. That's going to put Goodall over to third. So I knew Rudy was going to swing at the first pitch he saw. I just wasn't sure exactly where it was going to go, but it goes right into center field for a 2-out RBI, and that's run number 9 for the Panthers. And that's going to bring up Anthony Enriquez. Enriquez robbed of a grand slam just last inning. Runners at first and third with 2 outs. And Rudy Perez takes second easily. A great jump and not even a throw. In these conditions against a speedster like Rudy, I don't blame him, because the only thing that can happen is trouble. So now second and third. That pitch is in the dirt, and it's going to go underneath the legs of the catcher. He cannot locate that, and that's going to advance runners a base each. So that's going to be another run for the Panthers to make it 10-3. And a 1-1 count for Enriquez. So Goodall across on the wild pitch. Now the count is 2-1. Fouls off the 2-1 pitch to make it 2-2. That pitch that drops almost hits home plate, and he's going to be rung up on a called third strike. That, I don't think the umpire expected that one to drop.
That pitch wasn't even close.
Where it started, I could see it being a called strike, but by the time that got to the plate, it was almost in the dirt. I mean, you never want to see a player well, I shouldn't say upset. Obviously, you always teach composure, but I completely understand Enriquez kind of flipping his bat there after a call like that that ends an inning. I mean, with runners, with a runner at third. I mean, that is just a tough situation. But the Panthers do score 3 in the bottom of the 7th inning. Now lead 10-3. I'll take a quick timeout and be back with you to start things off in the 8th inning.
And the first pitch from John Meade is in the dirt, which will bring Garrett Anktel out to the mound.
His pitch count is getting up there. 98. No action in the bullpen. So I'm not sure what John's used to throwing for a number, where they might want to cut it off, but
I would think you'd want to get the bullpen some action pretty soon with a 7-run lead here.
Well, and also with the cold weather, I would think it might take a little bit longer for their arms to warm up. The 1-1 pitch, a fastball down the middle, I would hope that's called strike after what he gave them to end the inning. So 1-2 now the count to Gorman. And I don't understand. Obviously, he's hit by a pitch there, but how can you argue that he got out of the way on that pitch? But Bueno gets called back. Bueno doesn't move at all, and he gets called back. If anything, Gorman there steps into that and gets hit, and he's awarded the base. So the second hit by pitch for Gorman is going to bring up Christian Herbig. Fastball hit and run on, and that's going to be lined to Rudy Perez as he's running over to cover second. So they're going to double up on the hit and run. A great catch by Perez, throws over to Suter for out number 2. So great job defensively. Perez probably almost could have tagged out Gorman if he really wanted to. But nonetheless, that's going to bring up the DH, Ronaldo Echenique. First pitch, he's going to pop up, and it does go out of play just enough for strike 1. Oh, 1 pitch here from Meade. Going to be low for ball 1. That pitch. Swing and a miss there. We'll put the count at 2-2. Hard hit ball over to the shortstop Enriquez. That's on target over to Suter at first. So 3 up, 3 down for Meade and the Panthers. In the bottom of the 8th inning, it will be the 3, 4, and 5 hitters, the heart of the order for the Panthers, in Ivan Perez, Garrett Anktel, and Jose Bueno due up. The first pitch of the inning doesn't stand a chance as Ivan Perez unleashes on that one, and that's about 340, 345 down the left field line for a solo shot, as that one is just absolutely hammered. A great job there, and that's going to put the lead 11-3 here in the bottom of the 8th. And the Panthers just given insurance runs now. A great hit there. A hard hit ball here on the first pitch from Anktel, but he's going to get thrown out. One thing I've noticed, though, the further in the ball game we've gotten here, the Panthers are swinging at the first pitch from Dean. And just when I say that, there is a new pitcher on the mound. Snyder back on the mound in relief last night and then coming in relief here. And a first pitch strike there. But again, the Panthers, though, other than Bueno right there, they've been swinging at the first pitch quite a bit. That pitch in the dirt, but anything over the plate early in the count, they're swinging away at, expecting a good ball to hit. And that's just that. Jammed him on that one, and that's going to be a slow roller just in front of the second baseman, or second base. The shortstop picks that one up, throws over to first for out number 2. And that will bring up Michael Johnson, the third baseman. I think the shortstop stepped in front of the base. Check it out. Yeah, shortstop. Michael Johnson is 2 for 3. With 2 RBIs, 3 runs scored. He's going to hit this one high into right field. The right fielder, Kramer, underneath that one. So the Panthers only get 4 batters up, but the first one is a solo shot from Ivan Perez to increase the lead 11-3 through 8. In the top of the 9th inning, it's going to be Meade coming back onto the mound for the Panthers, and up for the Tigers is their 5, 6, and 7 hitters. We'll take a quick break and be back with you to finish things off here in York, Nebraska. Leading off things here in the top of the 9th inning, Ian Eshelman, the first baseman, is 1 for 3. Fouls off the first pitch. Next pitch misses, evens the count at 1-1. That pitch misses for ball 2. 109 now, 110 the pitch count for Meade. They're going to let him handle things. Fastball right down the middle of the plate. Evens the count at 2-2. Still looks like he's got that velocity, though, even at 110 pitches. There's no one warming up in the bullpen, though. So I expect him to go the complete game. Fouls off that one to stay alive. Look like that might be a swinging strike 3. Meade so far, though, only given up 3 hits on the day. So a fantastic job. I know that's one thing they always said his pitch count gets high, but he doesn't allow a lot of hits and things. He just forces them. Always gets himself into a high pitch situation. The 2-2 pitch looked decent. Must have been just a little high for ball 3. I'd be interested to know how many full counts he has gone to. I don't know what was wrong with that pitch, but that's going to be ball 4 for Eshelman. That's going to bring up Lee Stoops. And unfortunately, Lee Stoops is facing a Panther pitcher and not one of his own Tiger pitchers. There is some action in the bullpen now. It looks like Seth Walker. A hard hit ball down the left field line. I wasn't sure if that was fair or foul, but I guess he's going back to grab his bat, so that is foul, but that would be for sure a home run there on the first pitch, so let's hope we're able to get him out here, but he does line one into left field for a single. So a base on balls and a single is going to lead off things here in the top of the 9th inning and get the Panthers into a little bit of trouble. Obviously, they have an 8-run lead. Coach Walth is going to come out onto the mound and talk with Meade. Obviously, Meade's pitch count, 116. Not wanting him to go much further, but they're needing a little bit more warm-up here from Seth Walker in the bullpen. Runners are at first and second with no outs. 4 hits now on the day for the Tigers. They do have those 3 runs across, and 2 York errors have helped out a little bit there. Austin Penn now coming into the batter's box. Again, runners at first and second with no outs. Austin Penn 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. First pitch just misses for ball 1. That pitch is down the middle. Evens the count at 1-1. Hard hit ball laced right up the middle on the 1-1 count, and that ball just dies. I think they might have had the chance to round third and maybe go home, but playing it safe, loading the bases here with no outs. I'm trying to figure out if that is going to be the last batter that Meade faces, and it is. Coach Walth coming out for his second visit, and Seth Walker, a senior from Hastings, Nebraska, making his way out onto the mound to see if he can get Meade and the Panthers out of this ball game. John Meade, a fantastic game, only allowing 3 runs. I'm not sure exactly how many of those were earned right off. I think 1 earned maybe is what we have down, so a great job there. Obviously, he's responsible for these 3, but let's see if Seth Walker, Seth Walker can get him some help here. Looks like Seth Walker is warmed up enough. Who's this, Bauman? Now to the batter's box.
Bauman's 0 for 3 on the day. Reached base on a fielder's choice, and he also has an RBI. And the first pitch from Walker is a bit outside for ball 1.
All right, I apologize. My computer just started going on the fritz there. But that was a double play turn there. It does score 1 run, but they get 2 outs in that. A 1-1 pitch here. That's going to be laced up the middle, so that's going to score the second run of this inning for the Tigers. Still 2 outs here, though. Wild pitch by Seth Walker advances the runner into scoring position. Kramer is up to bat here on the 2-2 count. This one's going to be hit into shallow or the infield. Michael Johnson's going to make the grab there. That's going to be out number 3. That's your ball game, folks. The Panthers game 3 by a score of 11-5. 9 innings. Seth Walker closes it out, but John Meade goes 8 innings, allowing 3 earned runs. And the Panthers improved their season to 38-15, I believe. 18-5 in conference. Panthers 1 game away from being a co-champion in the conference. I do apologize again. My computer started talking to me and then crashed. I couldn't do anything. And so we are going to stay on the air here just a minute. They are going to do senior day presentations in between these games, so we might have a longer delay or a longer time in between the 2 ball games. But we will be back with you. We want to really do appreciate everybody listening in and watching as much as they could. We will probably have the second game of today's doubleheader start probably around 7:50, 7:45 or 7:50. Obviously, all you on the West Coast, that's 5:50. Those on the East, 8. And those in Alaska, that'll be 5:50 or no 7:50, so 4:50. They're a 3-hour difference. So, thank you again for listening in here and following. We will be back with you for Game 4 of this series. The Panthers look at sweeping Central Christian right after Senior Day presentations.